sant yàlla.
looy xaar utal wéef nga scan nga fay te nag doo ci yokku dara.
Jar Oil Company stands tall as a trusted name in energy, keeping the Gambia moving with service stations across the country and a commitment to innovation and reliability. In Farafenni, Jar Group is reshaping our industrial landscape. The Jar Oil Cement Factory can produce up to 100,000 bags a day, reducing imports, creating jobs, and building a stronger Gambia brick by brick. And in the heart of the Central River region, Jar Farming Initiative is cultivating food security. With thousands of hectares under development and modern irrigation, Jar Farming is turning the Gambia's soil into abundance. Jar Group is more than a company. It is a vision of self-sufficiency, resilience, and progress. The Jar Group of companies, investing in industry, agriculture, and energy, building the Gambia's future today.
In the Gambia, we all move to different paces. Time is money, convenience is power, and now both are in your hands. No more long lines, no more late payments, no more missed chances. Not anymore. Because now the Gambia has its own super app, Zap. One app, one tap, endless convenience. Send money instantly, pay your bills in seconds, shop without borders, pay your rides, order your meal, buy your ticket, deposit and withdraw money for absolutely free. No extra charges, no hidden fees, only on Zap Super App. This is not just convenience. This is confidence. This is the future in your hands. And the best part, Zap is born right here. Built for us, designed for every Gambian home, every Gambian dream. So don't wait in the past. Step into the future. Download Zap today on App Store and Play Store and enjoy endless free services. Call us today on our toll-free number 1666 or on 260-0001. Zap. All in one. All for you. Tap in. Zap in.
I don't like responding to political entities or political actors who are in the fringes of our politics, who are really insignificant insofar as politics is concerned. But I'm gonna do it because I want to give them advice on strategy, even though it's not in my nature to advise those people on political strategy. I wouldn't do it for free. But for these two people, I have to. Because they've engaged in a consistent falsehood campaign, which will, in the medium to long term, evaporate every credibility they have. That is, if they even have credibility. Now, the first one has to do with a lady who calls herself as a vice presidential running mate for some political entity which is a movement. I don't know if it's a GEP, I don't know. The lady, I can't even remember her name. I saw a TikTok video where she's saying that the president's wife receives $150,000 a day. That is what she spends on only food and nothing else. This lady, who has formed a movement and says she's the vice presidential running mate for that particular movement, and she wants to get into government politics, she wants to get access to the highest office of the land, is saying that the president's wife, the first lady, spends $150,000 of public funds every day on food alone. I don't know what kind of food this lady will be buying. Now, this is misinformation. It is falsehood. It is disinformation. And I think anybody who really wants to be a politician and wants to be president or vice president should disengage in such activities. Now, one thing I just want to bring to the attention of this lady and for every Gambian is that the First Lady's office is an integral and important office. And the First Lady's office has been doing a lot of work supporting communities, transforming lives in this country. And I think it's important today we share this with the public. In healthcare alone, the First Lady, through her foundation, has refurbished and equipped the urology unit at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital at a cost of $10 million. And people are going to ask, where did she get the money from? Partners. It's not her money from her pocket, no. But at least she goes to look for partners who can come and support the Gambia, just like any government does. She's currently constructing 3 maternity units at 3 different hospitals in Essau, in Farafenni, and in Soma. In fact, she's supposed to build 10. The first phase is building 3 maternity units because the maternity that existed there are not fit for purpose anymore. She's expanding and building new ones in these 3 hospitals as the first phase, but 10 nationally over time. But also, she's constructing a new accidents and emergencies unit at Bansang Hospital, currently as we speak, to the tune of millions of dollars. 1,028 people benefited through her partnerships with medical doctors across the world from critical surgeries, or what we call complicated surgeries. Every year she brings medical doctors from across the world to come and do surgeries that are complicated, that only very few specialists can do, and 1,028 people have benefited from that. In 2020, she also donated 100 beds to the Francis Small Teaching Hospital. Now, all these are done by the First Lady and her foundation. In access to water, she has constructed 97 boreholes across the country since the foundation started, expanding access to water, but also supporting over 1,000 families every year with food and financial support so they can be able to live a dignified life. On education, she has provided 10 scholarships for 10 students to go and study in Egypt, 20 for 20 students to go and study in Nigeria, and 40 scholarships for UTG students every year she provides for UTG students. On girls' education, she is currently sponsoring 140 students from grade 7 to grade 12. And she gives them lunch every day. The money is given to them on a yearly basis, and transportation to go to every on a yearly basis with textbooks and uniforms for these 140 students. So you have someone who does this. I think what this lady should do is to thank and commend the First Lady for her contribution to national development, for supporting her husband, the president, and not to peddle lies against the lies that even a child born in Brikama Health Center today will know these are lies. How can somebody eat $150,000 is one day? What will you buy? What will you eat? What? It's not even possible. How? Where is the money coming from, in fact? How? So it doesn't make sense for people just to make lies, just to be relevant in politics. Another person I also need to advise to really take it easy before he also loses credibility, if he has any, is Dr. Gajigo, who was on record saying that he was offered $30 million by the government to join the government. Who offered him that? For what purpose? $30 million is? For what? To do what? Sometimes when they speak, I don't know whether they forgot to drink their medication that morning when they were speaking.
You think they need...
No, but how can a sane man sit and be on public record to say they offered $30 million to join? $30 million is?
It's never happened.
No, but he just tell us who offered him, when and how, and for what purpose. He didn't say that. He should come. He's currently running for office as well. He formed this movement. He wants to be president. He owes it to the Gambian people to come and tell us who offered him the $30 million. When did this happen? And for what purpose was the $30 million for? In what conversation? I mean, it doesn't make sense. Sometimes they really put themselves in a situation where people tend to question. I mean, really, are they serious people? How can you make such a statement? How can you make such falsehood? How can you make such misleading statements? $30 million is? Who offered you that? Who? For what? When? So these are the two things I wanted to bring to the attention of the public.
Let's turn to issues up your street. And the IEC has just trained political parties, civil society, and the media and security services on combating fake news ahead of the 2026-2027 elections. What is the government's assessment of the scale of misinformation threat as we head into this cycle?
Well, I've just said it. Dr. Gajego and that lady. This is the highest level of misinformation. Is a big problem for us. And that is why the Ministry of Information now has taken a stance. We understand that misinformation and disinformation is not new. They're perennial. They've been here from time. What has changed is the scale and the intensity in which they travel, with the help of AI and with the help of digital technologies, and the way in which they've even been manipulated, the so-called deep fakes, where now you can see a video of Aji dancing to Mbala, and Aji has never danced, and when you see the video you think it's true. It's AI generated. It's called deep. These are deep fakes. They manipulate the videos. That is why the Ministry of Information now is now working on establishing what we call the Misinformation and Disinformation Response Center, an AI-powered response center which will in real time respond to misinformation and disinformation online using AI, and making sure that we do the fact check and give the correct information. We are taking it serious. That is why we are doing this. This is a project sponsored by ECOWAS. It's going to be under my ministry. And a media observatory, which will be 24 hours scanning the media, looking for such misinformation and disinformation. Because what it does is that it confuses the population, it brings instability, it undermines electoral integrity, but also it erodes our democracy. That is why IEC is taking it very seriously. They're the competent body to do that training, because IEC is responsible for organizing elections in this country. And elections they organize must be credible elections. And anything that undermines that credibility is IEC's business. And misinformation is one thing that can undermine the credibility of elections. That is why we are taking it seriously as a government, but IEC is also taking it seriously as an independent body, given the mandate to organize credible elections.
I hope the focus is not going to be entirely on being responsive to misinformation, that your government is also going to double up on being proactive, giving out the information and not just waiting for fake news providers.
Our policy, in fact, is proactive disclosure, number one. The response center and all we are doing to counter disinformation is important, but our number one policy is proactive disclosure of information. So the citizens get information which is accurate, which is authentic, which is relevant, and which is truthful, in a manner which they don't have to ask for it. That is why the government deems this very important. We brought a law called the Access to Information Law, which helps in this proactive disclosure. Now, legislatively speaking, we brought this law. This law makes it by law for every Gambian to request for any information that they want from any public body, as long as the information is not under exemptions. Now, apart from that, the ministry also came with initiatives like the Mansakunda, where every 2 weeks we bring a minister to interface the public. That is proactive disclosure. You ask the minister any question. Any question. As insofar as his or her sector is concerned.
Yes.
And recently, we also had a new program called Minister. Every Wednesday between 4 and 6, where I bring a minister every Wednesday between 4 and 6. And the 4th hour, the minister will tell us exactly what he is doing in his sector, his initiatives, his programs, and his projects. But also the last one, we open the line for people to call from across the country and ask the minister any question you want to ask the minister live. And he must answer that question. And this program's got cabinet backing. The ministers should come to that program. All this is to ensure that the bridge between the public and the government, insofar as the information is, the bridge is strong, that whatever the public is doing, whatever they are saying, whatever their aspirations are, what their challenges are, the government should be aware of it. But equally, whatever the government is doing, where they are spending public finances, their projects, their initiatives, the public should also know. Programs like this interface between the public and the government, either through radio or TV or live, physical, aims at promoting proactive disclosure, transparency, accountability, but also consolidating our democracy. Now, we know there's a problem with misinformation, disinformation. We have also taken measures to deal with that through the response center.
Are there special mechanisms in relation to the election period to make provision for similar programs to ensure that, communication happens and factual information is put out there that is free of political manipulation?
Of course, that is the one of the ways in which you can now counter disinformation. It's also making proactive discourse, communicating proactively with the public. You don't have to wait for people to start peddling lies for you to react. Give information as and when. That is why I said information should be given in a manner in which the timing is important. So we know all these things, and we're working hard to make sure that our elections are credible or continue to be credible as always, by ensuring that this information, or what we call misinformation disorders, don't really undermine the credibility of our elections. And we commend the IEC for really providing this platform where they train civil society, political parties, but also other segments of society about the dangers of misinformation and disinformation.
You've talked about the social media courts. I mean, much of the misinformation in the past elections globally has spread through the social media. I mean, is the government engaging platforms like Facebook, TikTok, X, or even WhatsApp in monitoring and to mitigate, harmful content? So
there's a fine line between information integrity and human rights. And I think the problem that we are talking about right now, this information disorders, is not a problem only for Gambia. It's a problem across the world. Every country, because we go to conferences and meetings globally, and we meet our counterparts, and every one of them will tell you this is the problem they are facing in their country. Now, in terms of engaging the big tech companies, this should be done. This is where efforts are under to do this regionally, as a bloc, and not as individual countries dealing with them. Because these are big tech companies. And engaging them also requires concerted efforts and a strategy. Now, at the continental level, at the African level, and the ECOWAS level, efforts are underway to see what we can do to really synergize our efforts to engage these big tech companies and not to engage them individually as governments. Now, as governments, we are not taking that strategy. We think that will not be very impactful. What we are doing is working with other partners, other countries in the region to make sure that we have a strategy and concerted efforts, and we synergize to make sure that we engage these big tech companies on this issue. But we know it is a problem. In fact, I was in Pretoria in February last month. This was the purpose of that meeting. And these are with the information integrity, and also how to engage big tech companies about this problem. So we are working on that at the continental level.
What assurances, if you like, can government give that misinformation, as you discuss, will not be used by political actors, not just the public at large, to delegitimize results they disagree with?
Well, we cannot give assurances as to what unscrupulous people will do. What we can tell you is that we're going to put measures in place, robust measures, to ensure the credibility of our elections and the results of these elections. And that so that is what we can as a government. We are going to ensure, and we assure the public of that we'll put every measure in place, every robust measure in place to ensure the credibility of the elections and the results of the elections. That we have safe elections, secure elections, and a stable electoral period. That we can assure the public. So, but what other unscrupulous people will do, that is beyond our control. But whatever they do, we'll counter it with the force that is needed to counter it, because this is very important, not only for the safety of Gambia, but also for the existence of our democracy and our republic.
Finally, Minister, anything else you might wish to address in conclusion?
The public should take note. We all know that the crisis in the Middle East is deepening. And with this, the globe, the world is bracing themselves for more inflation. This morning, I think yesterday, Iran has really closed the Strait of Hormuz, which, is a very important trade corridor. Just like other wars, when they happen, they have effects on the financial markets globally. They have effects on inflation. This will happen. So I think the public should take note of that. That the world is heading towards a very difficult period. As a government, we are focusing on what we can do to mitigate the impact of these situations. We know that these are global situations; they are beyond our control. But as a government, and no country is insulated from this problem. As a government, now our strategy, our focus is to ensure that we mitigate any impact that this will have on countries around the world. We live in a globalized world. Actions in one part of the world can have consequences for areas far, far, far away. The war in the Middle East has consequences for Africa, and I think any serious government, like our government,
we've started hearing issues about gas shortages and that kind of stuff.
So what we are doing as a government is to now sit and have a strategy how to mitigate and ensure that the impact is not felt that much on our population, on our people, and that is our strategy, that is our focus, and that is what we are doing. That is what we've been doing that for a very long time. We've got strategies in place like increasing salaries on 3 occasions, by giving subsidies on fuel, subsidies on electricity, subsidies in agriculture. All these are geared towards making sure that we cushion our people from the hard impact of this global crisis.
Doctor, thank you very much for your time once again.
Thank you.
Dr. Ismaila Ceesay is the Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services.
Sant yàlla. looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay te nag doo ci yokku dara.
Jar Oil Company stands tall as a trusted name in energy, keeping the Gambia moving with service stations across the country and a commitment to innovation and reliability. In Farafenni, Jar Group is reshaping our industrial landscape. The Jar Oil Cement Factory can produce up to 100,000 bags a day, reducing imports, creating jobs, and building a stronger Gambia brick by brick. And in the heart of the Central River region, Jar Farming Initiative is cultivating food security. With thousands of hectares under development and modern irrigation, Jar Farming is turning the Gambia's soil into abundance. Jar Group is more than a company. It is a vision of self-sufficiency, resilience, and progress. The Jar Group of companies, investing in industry, agriculture, and energy, building the Gambia's future today.
In the Gambia, we all move to different paces. Time is money, convenience is power, and now both are in your hands. No more long lines, no more late payments, no more missed chances, not anymore. Because now the Gambia has its own super app, Zap. One app, one tap, endless convenience. Send money instantly, pay your bills in seconds, shop without borders, pay your rides, order your meal, buy your ticket, deposit and withdraw money for absolutely free. No extra charges, no hidden fees, only on Zap Super App. This is not just convenience. This is confidence. This is the future in your hands. And the best part, Zap is born right here. Built for us, designed for every Gambian home, every Gambian dream. So don't wait in the past. Step into the future. Download Zap today on App Store and Play Store and enjoy endless free services. Call us today on our toll-free number 1666 or on 260-0001. Zap. All in one. All for you. Tap in. Zap in.